And there's decades of research called self-determination theory that is basically all about our key motivators, and they're all intrinsic, the ones that lead us to the longest term success and well-being. And those are autonomy, so do we have a choice? Competence, are we good at it? Are we decent at it? And connectedness, does it mean something to us? Do we feel connected? Those are the three motivators.
Hey everyone, welcome to Know Like Trust for Real Estate, where I help you craft branding and marketing strategies that align with your unique strengths. Agents who work with me grow their business on average by 40% by aligning their marketing with who they are, not what they sell. Today, I'm so excited about our guest. Jessica Lane is with us. She is the founder and CEO of the Full Cup Co. I have known Jess for so many years, probably going back 20 years now. She is a very seasoned brand strategist. She has worked on iconic brands like Jim Beam, Visa, Miller Brewing Company, and Porsche, and so many more. She also has a master's level education in psychology. And through her company, the Full Cup Co., she helps executives find their purpose, their creativity, and their happiness in their future work. I'm super excited for you to meet her. So please give a warm welcome to Jessica Lane. Hey, Jess. It's so great to see you after all these years and have you on the show.
I know. It's incredible to be back together in this way. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God. I'm so excited you're here. We're going to get right into it. So you are the owner, founder, CEO of the Full Cup Co., which I totally want to talk about. But before we get there, I just want to know, what prepared you for this moment?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, early in my career, I started off with you. So you know the beginning. And yeah, I think looking back, and we know this to be true, in moments of reflection, everything prepared me. But I would say the Cliff's Notes for me specifically are, I started off on big brands, as you know, like Miller, and Jim Beam brands, and Porsche, and Procter & Gamble. And I joke that I sold a lot of booze and cars and that was fun. And it wasn't my life's mission. And I think what, you and I both learned, not to speak for you, but when you work for the best in class and the biggest and the best early on in your career, you learn really good go-to-market commercial skills. Because a lot of the things that we work on those big brands are actually commodities, light beer and cars and toilet paper. So great brands, but things that may or may not need to be actually sold. But it's fascinating how you can create value. Yeah.
I have to interrupt you for a quick second. Toilet paper. What's the household penetration of toilet paper?
100%.
Is it?
Right? Well,
I feel like it was 90% back in the day, which was the big joke, because how can you only have 90%?
That was very, very interesting data point. I don't know. I need to brush up on those. I was it's got to be 100, right? Yeah,
I know.
That's why I joke, why do we have to sell it? But
I think it's crazy. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
But I think, the conversation is funny, isn't it? Just around creating value. So anyway, that's kind of the point, is I learned that early in my career. And then I realized I liked building things and I liked taking those skills, but we learned applying them to new environments. So I kind of slowly went smaller and did that. I went and worked for The Real, and the company went IPO when I was there. So that was a fun experience. And I got to see, something that was scaling quickly. And that was really interesting, kind of a bucket list item. I worked at Groupon during COVID. So really thinking about how to help small businesses during a time when things were shut down was a very interesting experience. And then I went to work in financial technology. And the last 9 to 5 I worked for, I helped a company reach billion-dollar unicorn status. So that was a fun experience. And then that same year, I got let go into mass reduction with 150 other people. I was building, reached a high and then a low. And that's really essentially the turning point in terms of what led me here. And kind of just to come back to that original question that you had at that moment, in terms of where my head was I had applied to 496 jobs. So I did the thing that we're supposed to do and buckled down, and that didn't work. And then I looked up and I started to look around and see that was also happening to hundreds and thousands of other really talented executives. And I had looked at data and trends my whole career. and been like, holy moly, something's happening. And when I turned that on myself and looked at that on behalf of my own self as the commodity, I was like, the market isn't what it was. So I decided to take a non-conventional path. And I decided that the 9 to 5 was not the ROI for me that it used to be, because the big tech bet that I had placed didn't pan out for me, even though the results had been there. So I thought, if $1 billion can't save you, what can? And I thought, you save yourself. So I didn't know what I was going to do exactly, but I knew I was going to take my first 20 years and I was going to combine it with this master's in psychology that I went and got. And I did that for a lot of reasons, to be honest with you, Christine. I did that for personal and professional reasons. It helped me work through some things. It made me proud of myself. It was a bucket list thing. But also I was like, well, I'm not going to be, I want to think big, and I want to also go solve a problem. So I knew I was going to use it as a foundation in what I was going to go build next, if that makes sense. And I was going to somehow combine the first 20 years in this education. And about a year and a half in is when I built the full Cupco and when I built my framework. And it essentially is the best of the psychology education and my go-to-market experience in a framework. And I designed it to help people solve the problem that I had, which is, what the heck do I do now? And how to design your next chapter outside of the 9 to 5. So that's how I arrived here.
It's amazing. And I'm so proud of you for choosing yourself. So you actually say that you chose yourself before you even got to the full Cupco. What does that mean? And through that process, like, obviously you got a master's in psychology and you had to do the deep work, right? To create your own personal brand. So tell me about that process.
Yeah, it can be really hard because we are extrinsically motivated by most everything today, meaning, of course, we're human, but money, titles, brands, all the things that come at us, every second of the day. So choosing yourself can be sometimes hard because what it requires is to come back to your intrinsics, your values. And also, I think, a lot of times we lose sight of the meaning of a lot of what our experiences create for us.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time that we can pause and create reflection and meaning, or that we take sometimes to be like, wow, maybe that chapter of my career ended not on my terms, but what can I take from it? Or what has meant something to me in the world that I really care about, that I might want to actually, go and do something about. We're sort of motivated by all of these extrinsic motivators. And there's decades of research called self-determination theory that is basically all about our key motivators. And they're all intrinsic, the ones that lead us to the longest term success and well-being. And those are autonomy. So do we have a choice? Competence. Are we good at it? Are we decent at it? And connectedness. Does it mean something to us? Do we feel connected? Those are the 3 motivators. The foundational motivators of what is a long-term effort, those are the 3 motivators, because that's what sustains you over time. It comes from you. And no one can really say, Christine, I need you to feel connected to selling light beer for 50 years,
Yeah. And so is that the psychology part of what you do?
A lot of it is. Yeah. Okay. And that's exactly where we start. We start with the first half of the program on the framework is all of those intrinsic motivators. I can give you the quick rundown. So it's called your unique blueprint. That's what you end up with after all of the work. It's broken up by, no one has your unique combination of your background, your values, your skills and your strengths, your interests, your desired impact in the world, and all of your personal and professional experience and the meaning that you've created from those experiences. No one has that unique combination. And when you start to break that down and then extract key themes from that, and all of those things, things become really, really clear on, this is feeling really like my unique blueprint and I understand myself better. The other reason why this is really important to start in terms of future of work and career is because this is the best way to differentiate yourself in the future of work. We want to sound more human, less like AI, less like a resume than ever. We don't want to sound like a bot. We want to sound like us. That's actually going to propel us further. Then we can go figure out, okay, great. How do we market our unique blueprint? What's the wrapper? What's the model? And how do we go create income streams off of that? But for me, knowing that research and then understanding where the future of work is going, I'm like, yeah, we start there. And that's most fulfilling for us. So it's good news.
It's so interesting because when I work with my clients on their branding and their marketing strategy, I have what's called the DNA method, which is discover, name, and amplify, which that whole discovery piece of it is essentially what you're talking about. Is like, how do I figure out what it is that makes me unique? What's my unique value proposition? How am I different from my competitors? What are my strengths? What can I delegate and not waste valuable time on? Like all of these, what are my values? All of these things. It's all in parallel to what you're saying. As a marketing strategist, I find that to be the most gratifying part of the process and the most important, because you can't get to the brand and the marketing strategy without it. Right. And just like you with your unique blueprint, you can't get to the other side of it to understand what your purpose and
well, the whole idea of the unique blueprint came from our brand building and the brand house and all of the like, what are the core essentials, right? And so every great brand in the world starts from their unique point of differentiation. And it's no different for us, but it's coming from more of the human spirit, you know?
Yeah.
And our lived experience. Yeah.
So, all right. So, because you and I we do very similar things, but with very different outcomes,
totally.
Right? So how do you translate that for somebody who you're essentially helping them create their personal brand? Like, do you have clients who get through that and go, oh my God, I thought I was going to go be a brand strategist, and they realize I'm really supposed to be like an interior designer? Like, do they have that kind of aha when they realize like who they are deep down and what makes them so special?
Most people don't take total 180s. They'll do like, I don't know what the degree I'm going for is. I'm not a mathematician, but they'll do like a tangent. So for instance, I have one client, Jorge, who has his certificate from Lake Cordon Bleu. So he graduated from Lake Cordon Bleu, which I think is very impressive early on in his career. But then he went on to be a construction project manager. So he has all these like, operations and sales skills. I'm like, okay. Now, and he's also a big dog lover and has a dog. And he started cooking for him and his dog. Very good food because of aforementioned Lake Cordon Bleu. Then he started cooking high end for his neighbors and his neighbors' pets. And now guess what he does? He has a luxury high end delivery and food service business because he has his Lake Cordon Bleu, so we can use that as his marketing, and if people are going to pay a premium for both themselves and then their dogs and their pets to be fed, you can design business model, based on his lifestyle. So that's what he is working on scaling. So
that is so exciting.
It's so cool. That's a very fun example. Another client, Melanie, so she was like super stressed marketing executive, worked in more in events. So you know what that can be. I don't think you and I ever worked in events, but we worked on events. Yeah. And so we have a little bit of purview into that, but imagine doing that for years on end. But she wanted to go into real estate. And she also had this floral design background. Again, disparate parts, but we're all a little bit puzzle pieces, aren't we? We're not always so linear. And so it's going to take a while to get your real estate license. But what she did have was she had a really good knack for interior design, and she had a floral design background. So we created an interim role for her where she created her own staging company. Yeah. And she was able to go market herself to real estate companies. Then she could also work in the office, get more experience that way and get more exposure and get her foot in the door. So again, just different ways to help people think about kind of expanding beyond the 9-to-5, but also taking into account how to make them money, what will be sustainable for them, and what is really their unique, like we were saying, like their unique way in. And there is that. It just totally depends. It's totally different for everyone, which I think is the coolest thing.
And it's just a totally different way to think about work than I think we grew up understanding.
Exactly. The Financial Times just wrote an article about midlife and career planning and financial planning needing to go hand in hand now because we can't be relying on one 9 to 5 like we used to.
Yes.
Like we were brought up, or like our parents did. It just work does look a lot different.
And you're coming in at like just such an amazing point in that sort of trajectory, because people, they need the education around it too. And they've got to bet on themselves, right?
Yeah. And I think it's hard to bet on yourself if you don't know like why or what you're betting on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you can go do like a million different things, but what's the like, I know this is the right thing for me move?
Yeah.
Like, how do we validate that? And that's where the psychology piece really comes in. Because you're actually like the best therapist, the best coaches, like they just bring out in you what's already in you.
Yeah.
You have it. You have it. You just need some frameworks and some tools and yes, some different ways to think about the future and considering AI, of course, and all the things. But yeah, at the end of the day, it starts with you. And I think that's what's exciting about the future of work. I think it gives people a little bit of freedom. I'm not saying it's easy, but neither is applying to 1,000 jobs and waiting 3 years to get another job. I'm sorry, but I did that.
Here's a receipt from my favorite restaurant. Normally, this is the kind of thing that ends up in my pocket, then my car, then gone. Not anymore. All I do is take a picture and text it to B. That's it. No app to open, no category to select, nothing to fill out. I just sent a text. And here's what comes back. B already pulled the amount, the vendor, the date, and the category, straight from the receipt. If anything needs to be adjusted, I just reply in plain English. But this looks right, so I'll just say, done. Now, if I want to see everything in one place, every receipt, every category, a full report, I go to my portal at my.beekeeper.ai. Here's my dashboard. Every expense I've texted in is right here, organized, categorized, ready to go. I can see the full history, filter by date or category, and when I'm ready, I can run a report and have it sent straight to my inbox. Clean records, no scrambling. Ready for my bookkeeper or my CPA whenever they need it. That's Beekeeper. Snap, text, done. For more information and to sign up, go to beekeeperai.com.
Wow. I love how you've taken your experience, your personal experience looking for a job, and all of your professional experience and brought it all together to help other people. I love it. Like, let's put this in the framework of a real estate agent. A lot of the work that I do with agents is coaching them on how to build their personal brand. And it can be difficult because a lot of agents feel like they're self-promoting. So how would you describe the difference between building that personal brand and self-promoting?
I think a personal brand can look so different these days for so many different people. For instance, the full Cupco is a brand in and of itself. I call it the Career Design Company. It is a company entity. It is my brand, and I'm working on building my personal brand on LinkedIn, as the founder of the full Cupco. So it can come to life in so many different ways for so many people. Some people just go on their name and they're creating, their name. So it totally depends. I think that can come to life in many different ways. But I think in terms of just self-promotion versus creating a personal brand, I tend to think about like the value that you're offering others, being like the first point of differentiation and having more of a mission behind what you're doing and being values oriented. Those are the things I would say.
And that's the difference between someone choosing you versus someone else who might be out there just self-promoting how many deals they've done.
I think people can see through that pretty well. If you're creating value for people, I think that they also can see that. And so I think you have to, even though, you are the driver of your own destiny. If you're coming from a place of giving versus getting, I think that usually goes further in the long run.
I agree. So when you think about someone finding their personal brand, and you've got clients who have been in the corporate world and for years and years, and they've been showing up how they believe they were expected to show up, because that's like years and years and years of training, right? So how do you break that wall down and get them to really show up the way they are in their true, authentic selves?
I love this question so much. So this question is important because so many years, like you said, have been spent. It can start in childhood.
Right.
not because anyone's bad, but what are the messages that we got about work? Especially if we're being almost forced to change in real time and we're working on outdated messaging, belief systems. Again, not because anyone's bad, but just the world is changing. So one of the things that we do is we start with just a quick 360 wellness assessment against what I call the 5 key pillars of wellness. It's just a quick check-in, just to level set. A lot of times if we're in a place of transition, our nervous system's really out of whack, especially if the rug's been pulled from under us. So I think just, a level set there, and then really working through, like I said, that unique blueprint, but in a reflective manner. So when we look at those values and those core beliefs, our skills, we're also looking at our experiences, and we're also looking at our occupational identity within those experiences. And we're taking time to do a quick career genogram, which is basically like, what are the quick, and it can be, it's like, you can go as deep as you want, know, but we're really looking to see, like, maybe as far back as my grandparents, for instance, what are some of the key messages I got about work? And where did some of these core themes come from? Did my mom or my dad have a profession that carried through to me? Or, I have a friend who got her law degree because that was really instilled in her, and she passed the bar and she didn't want to do law. So she didn't. Yeah. But that came from her family, I think really coming from a place of, again, intrinsic motivation, as well as reflection, and then reframing, and just having that opportunity to gently and positively say, okay, this is where I've been. What would I love to carry with me? And what would I love to either reframe or maybe just let stay? I think that allows, what I love about my program and my framework is it's both kind of a landing pad and a launch pad. And what you're saying is, what's the landing pad, I think? Yeah. And that's kind of that landing pad. And then, okay, great. We're taking those key themes and we're using those to our advantage because now we're going to position them. But yeah, that opportunity to reframe, I think, and be kind and have that reflection and reframe is really kind of a nice way to kind of set everything out and have a look, but then kind of package it together and say, okay, now what's next?
I would imagine some people are resistant to change their belief systems.
Yes, and I don't think that it's requiring yourself to entirely change your core beliefs versus maybe change something that you've just realized might be holding you back. So it's not say change who you are. For instance, if I have a belief that the only way that I'm going to be employed is a 9-to-5, I might be forced to change a belief if I'm 40 plus in this job market. Again, it's what you choose. I'm not going to force anything. It's a framework just for you to be able to kind of reflect. But it also, I think, helps to have someone else be able to help reflect at some points as you need it. And we know from the best of psychology that during times of transition, A, sometimes it's hard to ask for support, but B, that's when we need it the most. And I think, that's a good environment to be in if you're going through something like that, is the ability to have someone reflect back to you.
Now let's go to the launch pad. So you've launched, right? You're taking a pivot in your career. How do you build your personal brand or build your future work and have it be durable through like market shifts and, economic changes and layoffs? Economic shifts is essentially what it is, right? Or for in real estate, a slow real estate year.
I would definitely think about a few things. I would think about that unique blueprint, and then I would think about solving human problems and thinking about creating revenue streams based on human problems based on that unique blueprint. So for me, I had my unique blueprint of this idea of career design because I combined my marketing with my psychology. And then I was like, problem to be solved. Simple way to explain it. Sounds complicated if you're like, what would that be for me? But that's what the process is for. Yeah. The second piece is we opportunity map those things. So we're basically looking at like, okay, now that we have those key themes, what makes sense to bring forward? And then we prototype it. But yeah, that's what I would think about, is creating a revenue stream that is agnostic of a 9-to-5. You can still market yourself with that personal brand to jobs if that's what you need or want to do. Totally understand. Everyone has to do what's right for them. But I would think about using that unique blueprint and figuring out like 1 or 2 at least smart revenue streams that can only come from you. Think about the most unique human problem you can solve. That's where I'd start. And for agents, the other thing I wanted to say, just based on your prep, is I think y'all are very uniquely positioned to create community Did you know that the U.S. Surgeon General has issued an epidemic of isolation and loneliness? So like at the very broadest level, people are lonely. Agents are uniquely positioned to solve the human problem of loneliness just by the nature of their embeddedness in
their communities. Yeah.
And so if it's a slow year or you're thinking about generating business, I would think about solving the human problem of community because that's a unique advantage that you guys have.
Is AI a threat or is it a tool for someone building a personal brand?
I definitely think it's a tool. If you use it to amplify that unique blueprint and use the time to create what's human and then figure out how to use AI to execute, it can absolutely be your friend. But just don't use it as a substitute on the human stuff because it's not. Amplify the things that make you feel something because human empathy, I would say even lean into your weird. Again, people are kind of craving like funny people that make them feel something. Think about the social media accounts that you probably follow now are either educational, funny, or make you feel something, right? Like it can even be silly animal accounts, something like that. I'm not claiming that that's a career path, but I'm claiming lean into the weird and lean into where you feel something because that will probably take you somewhere, At first I found myself really like leaning into the fact that I was like helping my friends be like, and then you could do this, and then you could do this. And what if you did this? And then, and they were like, whoa, that's actually a really good idea. I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. But ultimately like leaning into where you nerd out a little, I think is where you
nerd out a little. I love it. Did you? I don't know if I told you when we were doing our prep call that I'm writing a book called Your Weird Is Your Wealth.
I don't know if I knew that was the title. Oh my gosh, I love this. Yes.
Right? You just said it, like lean into your weird. And that's what it's all about. I mean, that's essentially what your unique blueprint is. Well,
especially if you think about like the agent relationship, who I think this is your main audience, the relationship piece, like that's such a relationship business. All work is, but those long-term relationships are critical to the business. And so if people know you and like you, like the whole point of this whole podcast. And I think that's about leaning into your weird. Yeah.
So let's go back to the name of your business, The Full Cup Co. What does that mean? And how did you come up with it?
Well, I think we've all heard of the old adage, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yep.
And I felt like my cup was fairly empty when I wasn't choosing myself. So at the simplest level, The Full Cup Co. is about enabling people to choose themselves. To me, I'm less interested in me defining it, and I'm most interested in helping others define what a full cup looks like for them. And I think that's like my favorite part of the brand is people are like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, I don't know. What is it? And so it makes people think a little bit, but everyone kind of gets it too. So, and to me, a full cup means peace and freedom, the ability to create and build and help people and create impact in the world. And then also to have time for my dog and the beach and travel and friends and family and hot yoga and be a person. But I think probably at the top are like, peace and freedom. And I feel like the ability to kind of design like the career meant for me, which is a cool thing to say.
So for an agent who's listening and might feel stuck, what is a piece of advice you would give them?
Think bigger. Like literally just think bigger. You're probably feeling like these are the things I need to do, or this is a list I need to check off. And I would actually say like, for a 9-to-5 professional, I say ditch the resume, but whatever the equivalent is for the agent, like ditch the books and really think about yourself as a full human and think about how you can lean into that unique blueprint. Because I think the more heart, the more human that comes through, the more you're going to resonate with people. And that's the biggest thing you have to do is resonate with people. So you got to just find your way in on what makes that like the most natural thing for you. And Christine, you said something to me when we had our prep call, when we reconnected, and you were like, you were always just yourself. And that was the most awesome thing I think anyone's ever said to me. Because like, honestly though, if your true light can shine and someone can remember you for that, I think that's going to go further than truly really anything, especially these days, like we've been saying. Well, yeah, I just want to say thank you. As you know, I told you this, but you were always a mentor of mine and just such a pivotal person early on in my career. So it's just such a joy to be back with you in this way, and so cool that we both have now pivoted. So thank you. You can find me. Fullcupco.com is the website. Jess Lane. I'm on LinkedIn. And then we have Full Cup Co on Instagram too. We're small but growing. And those are the main places to find us.
Thank you for that sprinkle of magic dust and the kind words. I really do appreciate it. It is
You're awesome.
Interesting how you can go through your life and not know if you've had an impact on anybody. And so that's really special. So I appreciate that. And
oh yeah, big time.
I always saw something very special in you. So we will put the fullcupco.com into the show notes and your LinkedIn. And I would highly encourage anybody who's listening or watching to connect with Jess. She's absolutely amazing. So wise. So I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Oh, it's been so much fun. I could chat for hours, but I suppose we have to get on with our days. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked our episode, we'd so love it if you would share it with a friend. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app, make sure to follow us. And if you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Sign up for my newsletter, The Sunbeam. Go to postandbeamcreative.com and sign up. I'm Christine George, and you're listening to Know Like Trust for Real Estate.